The following program is rated G. It is suitable for all audiences.
Anchored with different voices ignited by shared wisdom.
We talk only about facts, never recaps.
We share the tactics under the field of linguistics.
Wanna know more about language? Here, only here at the Linguist Talks.
Another day, another episode here in the Linguist Talks. Today, we will try to track the people behind the concept of the language. The people who played a huge role in the development and the progression of the linguistic field.
The people who made everything possible, everything remarkable, and everything understandable. Without their contributions, a dying and a dry field could be the state we hold on to today. However, because of their works and intellect, people holistically understood the components and the reasons behind our languages.
Today, we bring you the prominent linguists who played a huge role in the transcendence of the field of linguistics, as we shall hear from them their greatest contributions.
Let's give it up for Aristotle, Ferdinand de Saussure, Umberto Eco, Roman Jacobson, Robin Lakoff.
We also have here today Edward Sapir, Benjamin Whorf, Robert Loth, and the one and only Noam Chomsky. Everyone, let's give them a round of applause, please. So, we will start with you, Mr. Aristotle. Your beliefs and principles were all outside of the text. You explain things in a very unexpected way. So, can you share with us, especially to all of the young linguists here watching, how do you view language?
I am Aristotle, an ancient Greek philosopher and a scientist. I am the person behind the demythologization of language. You know, language for me is an object of rational inquiry. Language is a tool of expressing and communicating your thoughts about anything you try to perceive or to say. Simple as that. You may expect me to believe that language was a form of some magical thing, but it's not.
Indeed, language is our way of showing the real us. The utterance of words may signify our own emotions on something, or it could be our opinions and beliefs in a particular matter. It is a valid object of rational inquiry, right, GN? Moving on to our second prominent linguists. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ferdinand de Saussure. Come on, tell us, sir, what is your greatest contribution?
Yes, I am Ferdinand de Saussure, a Swiss linguist and the founder of modern linguistics. I have contributed three major key directions in the study of language: the difference between the concepts of synchrony and diachrony, difference of langue and parole, and of course the concept of semiotics. I presented the idea that synchronic linguistics is the study of language at any given point in time, while diachronic linguistics is the study of language through different periods in history. Other than that, I also presented the concept of langue and parole, where langue is an abstract system of signs, in contrast to parole, the individual expressions of language. I pioneered the study of signs, the semiotics, which investigates how meaning is created and how it is perceived by the communicators. It is through the signified and signifier which lead a person to understand the codes or stimuli he or she will encounter.
Wow, just wow. That's definitely incredible. So does that mean that our signs that we see on our screen right now signifies an interpretation or a message? Just like our logo, it signifies a mic which they can see as a symbolism? Wow, that's definitely a wonderful thing. So let's give it up for our next visitor, Mr. Umberto Eco.
Umberto Eco is a semiotician who developed a classification in which he distinguishes the difference between artificial and the natural signs. The natural signs are divided into two classes. These are first, signs identified with natural events or things, and second, signs unintentionally produced by a human agent. This class includes several subclasses. A similar division is made for artificial signs, which are either first, intentionally produced in order to signify, or second, intentionally produced as a primary function, a secondary function, or a combined function.
Wow, that is still under the field of semiotics, just like Mr. Ferdinand de Saussure. However, Mr. Eco Umberto introduces the concepts and ideas of artificial signs and natural signs. Heading to our next famous linguist, we have Mr. Jacobson. However, Mr. Jacobson wasn't able to join us in this program, but he is represented by Miss Angeline.
One of Jacobson's major contributions is his 6 major functions of language, according to which an effective act of verbal communication can be described. Each of the functions has an associated factor. For this work, Jacobson was influenced by Karl Baller's organon model. He presented 6 major functions, which are the poetic, static, metalingual, referential, conative, and emotive functions. Aside from that, his different views helped to shape his ideas. Jacobson clarified many concepts. He brought to light the idea of phonemes, which were once the smallest units of language. As a linguist, Jacobson studied the poetry of grammar and the grammar of poetry. He looked at the linguistic patterns that contributed to the poetic effect that others oftentimes overlooked. He also viewed meter, rhyme, and imagery as the poetic function.
That was fantastic! He really served as the myriad of concepts on the table. Kudos to his work! So let's give it up for our empowered woman, Miss Robert Lackoff.
I am Robin Tomac Lackoff, and I am the author of the very prominent Language and Woman's Place. Because of my notable work, many ideas about women's language were introduced to the field of social linguistics. My works have inspired different strategies for studying language and gender across national borders as well as across class and race lines. My works greatly depict class, power, and social justice in addition to gender.
Who run the world? Yes, indeed, the girls. Thank you for recognizing the language of women, Miss Lackoff. Wow, the overflowing contributions are not yet over, because more linguists will share theirs after this break.
This is tomorrow. Tomorrow, very early, someone will go on her first ever run. Right after, Shelly-Ann will run the 100 in under 10 seconds. By lunchtime, a shoe will grow from a seed. The WNBA will surpass the NBA in popularity. This tennis legend will launch her own video game. Also, tomorrow, we will all finally respect athletes' mental health. a woman will run a marathon on Mars. Tomorrow, we will celebrate new champions. And one sport is declared a human right, tomorrow will go really crazy. Marie Antoinette will score 7 in 7 minutes. Guy will land a 1620. LeBron will score 120, and I don't know what this is, but it looks amazing. Of course, the internet will break. Well done, tomorrow. Can't wait to see what's next.
You are still watching the Linguistics. We've met and talked with some of the people who share the concept of linguistics. Let our cast learn to be ignited as we bring you to the remaining people who pioneered several ideas in the field of linguistics.
The next prominent linguist that we have today in our program is the person behind the linguistic relativity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mr. Edward Sapir, represented by Miss Jarrett.
Edward Sapir was a linguistic anthropologist who developed a system for categorizing indigenous American languages that is still used today. However, Sapir is most recognized for developing the concept of linguistic relativity with his student, Benjamin Whorf. In its most extreme form, this idea suggests that the language one uses has a significant impact on how one views the world. Modern linguists have largely discarded this concept, but it has sparked enormous debate and thought about the relationship between language and culture.
Thank you so much for hosting the idea of linguistic relativity. Giving the floor to our next linguist who is greatly associated to the former linguistic anthropologist that we met. Let's give it up for Mr. Benjamin Whorf.
Whorf is well known for his theories on linguistic relativity, or the idea that language influences one's thinking. He has been credited as one of the fathers of this approach, which is often referred to as the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, named after him and his mentor, Edward Sapir. It is an important theme in many of his publications. He also published numerous publications in major linguistic journals, many of which dealt with his observations of how different linguistic systems influence language users' mental system and habitual behavior.
A very marvelous collaboration of wisdom and intellect. The next prominent person authored a book that strengthened the aspect of prescriptive grammar. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Robert Loth, represented by Jarrett.
Robert Loth established a strong foundation of prescriptive grammar because of his book, A Short Introduction to English Grammar. His grammar book is highly utilized as a source of many prescriptive shibboleths that are studied at different academies. Also, he is recognized as Shakespeare's first imagery critic, emphasizing the importance of imagery in the interpretation of character motives and acts, as well as dramatic movement of the plot and narrative structure.
We are deeply honored using the grammar rules you published within your time. So let's give it up for our next linguist, alive and still kicking. Let's give the floor to our very own mentalist, Noam Chomsky.
I am probably the most well-known name on our list, and I am well-known for a variety of reasons. I am best known in the field of linguistics for my universal grammar theory, which states that all languages have the same fundamental structure and merely employ different words and sounds on the surface. I contend that humans are biologically endowed with a language acquisition device that gives us the innate potential to learn new languages.
Truly, they are all amazing!
Their concepts detangle the unexplainable things under this field. They were the people who let us derive the right formula in every problem we encountered in this field.
We commend your contributions. Without them, language would still be an unexplainable.
A million thanks to your concepts, knowledge, skills, and ideas. We salute you all.
I am Jinlea Dumawal.
And I am Hans Uriel Factoris. Here, only here at the Linguist Talks.